Welcome back to Hustle to Holdings, where we explore how people turn hustle into long-term ownership. Today's guest brings a unique perspective from a field that demands discipline, pressure, and precision. He's a full-time nurse who started flipping houses, built a strong foundation in real estate, and is now setting his sights on the hotel space. He is also the host of his very own podcast, The Lowdown, where he shares real conversations about business and investing. This episode is about balancing demanding careers, building parallel paths to ownership, and thinking bigger with time. Lorenzo, welcome to Hustle to Holdings.
Hammy, thank you for having me on the show. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, and I'm excited to just learn a little bit more on your perspective and your mindset shift when it comes to real estate investing. So let's talk about first nursing. So what intrigued you into becoming a nurse?
I'm not even going to lie, I went into nursing because it was a typical, stereotypical Filipino trait. So my mom was a nurse, and so in high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And so what did I do? My mom just told me to do nursing, and so I really didn't know what to do, and so she just told me to do it. And so I applied to like two or three colleges, and then I mean, when I was growing up, I went to the hospital sometimes with my mom. My parents are divorced, and so there's many times where she was working when I was still younger, and so she had a very chill job, and so I'd go to the hospital with her, and I'd see the kind of care that she did for other people, and I honestly loved it, and yeah, that's kind of just how I fell into nursing.
And you're still in nursing today, correct?
Yeah, so I've been a nurse now for this is going on my 11th year.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you are essential a lot of the times, and I do value a lot of the work of nurses. So I just wanted to shout out nurses. My sister's getting into it right now, and it's not looking like an easy space. So how do you balance? Because I know you guys work maybe 2-3 days a week, 12-hour shifts usually. And the other days I see nurses are mainly going to sleep because it's a long shift. So how do you balance real estate investing and nursing?
Yeah, nursing is definitely a very demanding job. I mean, we see people at their most vulnerable times in their lives. It's very stressful sometimes. But thankfully, the job itself is great because there's so much flexibility in it. Especially, most nurses have 12-hour shifts, and so that means you're typically only working like three days a week, right? And so the 4 other days of the week, there's a lot more time to pursue other avenues. And for me, that was business, and so flipping and real estate. Nursing has really allowed me to do that. And so I know some nurses, they'd be working 8-hour shifts or 10-hour shifts. So there's a lot of variability in like the schedule of nurses. But I think for me, having 3 days a week has really allowed me to pursue other things really well. Because if I was working still 40 hours a week or doing like other jobs where they're working pretty much every single day, right? That's a lot more challenging to pick up something when you come home from work and then you're already tired, and now you're trying to moonlight and doing something after work, right? Whereas me, it's like my days off, I'm dedicating it to doing a podcast recording like this, or I'm going to conferences, going to meetup events. So yeah, nursing, I think, has just been awesome for the flexibility.
That's awesome. So what initially introduced you into the real estate space then?
Yeah, so going back like 5 years ago, I really wasn't good with money, to be honest. Like, I was living for the weekends. Every time I'd go get a paycheck, I'd be going to the bars and all that stuff. And then once I met my wife, at the time when we were just started dating, I was like, I probably should get my shit together. Sorry if I'm cussing. But I started reading books about just how to be better with money, like Simple Path to Wealth, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, anything to just teach me how to be better with money. And everything kept pointing to real estate. And so I went to my very first real estate event in Las Vegas. It was called WealthCon. It was put on by Ryan Pineda. And I was like in shock by being surrounded by so many people who are go-getters, people who are wanting to do benefits with their life. And he was just talking about house flipping. And so that just really intrigued me because house flipping is a great way to build up your active income. And so nursing and other W-2s, that's your active income, right? You're trading your time for money. And so flipping is a great way to build up that active income as opposed to just rentals where it's passive income, right? And so this is a way that, for me, I could replace my W-2 income quickly.
Okay, well, shout out to your wife. You know that's a good wife if she's making you want to hustle. What did your wife think actually about flipping when you first brought it up to her?
Honestly, everyone in my life, I think, was kind of just surprised because, I mean, it was totally 180 degrees from nursing, right? I think it kind of
Yeah.
just came out of left field. And I think a lot of people were kind of just like, oh, maybe, this might be just a fad. I don't know if it'll be like a full-on like seriousness that he has. And then I joined a coaching program. This is my first time paying, I think, spent like $10,000, and this was like the most amount of money I'd ever spent for investing in myself. And so I think after that, she was like, oh, wow, he's actually kind of serious. And then I just kept going to more and more meetups. And yeah, once I actually got a house under contract to flip, then everyone's like, oh shit, he's actually really serious about this. I think just joining the mastermind was probably like the big first step, and showing my seriousness in wanting to do this.
I've only had one flip in my life. I've never wanted to do flipping because I thought it was way too risky. I liked passive, I liked safe.
Yes.
Until one of my houses flooded about 4 feet and I had to make it a flip basically. Or, so it's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. Did you do the remodeling yourself or did you hire contractors? How did your deal work out?
No, so for this specific deal, I partnered with two other people who I met through the mastermind. One was an architect, and the other girl, she worked at another W-2 around here in the Bay Area. And we did not do any of the work ourselves. We hired out for contractors. Tried to save a little bit of money doing just little things like doing some of the landscaping, trimming trees and all that, and just trying to clean up after the contractors and all that. But the work itself was all hired out. But the first deal, everything that went wrong went wrong. And so this was a house that we found. It was listed on the market for, I think, like 6 months or so. So we were able to get it for a pretty good deal. But as you know, contractors took longer than anticipated. All the work took longer, went over budget. And yeah, when we went to try and sell the property, when we were going through escrow, the title company told us that the property sat on two parcels, and one of the parcels was never conveyed to the seller who sold it to us in the first place. So long story short, we didn't even own half the property, and we didn't realize this till we were selling it. And so pretty much would have had to go through probate, and this one sellers that we had, they pretty much tried to back out. And so this was like the worst case scenario because our hard money loan was due. Yeah, and like if we didn't have them buy the property, we would have had to go through probate. We would have had to spend 100,000 on legal fees. Who would have known like what the outcome would have been? Thankfully, the sellers or the buyers agreed to buy it at a much lower price, but that meant we lost a decent amount of money. And so, yeah, it was kind of like the best case of a worst case scenario. But yeah, that was a huge, unfortunate, yeah, loss. But it's okay.
What did you learn from it? A failure is a lesson, right?
Yeah, no failures, only lessons.
Exactly.
I think really just putting yourself out there and just continuing to push past stressful situations. I mean, that's the ultimate thing for me is like, yes, things are going to be stressful and things are going to come up unexpectedly, but you just got to keep moving forward because I could have easily been like, this is the one flip, it put me out like 30,000. I'm not going to flip anymore, or I'm not going to keep doing investing. But for me, the worst thing is being in the same job I am today. Like I'd much rather keep going, keep learning from lessons, and yeah, keep moving forward. It's like, to me, the worst thing is to just be in the same place I was last year. So
I
yeah.
love that. I love that motivation. So, what your next deals then you continued doing flips with partners or yourself?
So the next flip I did with another same group of partners, and then I did two simultaneously. I did one by myself. This was a fire damaged property, and then I did another one with the same two partners. And so, yeah, lots of other lessons for those two flips. But at the end of it, I ended up losing on another one and breaking even on another one. And so I said on an Instagram post, my current real estate track record is zero wins, 2 losses, and 1 break even. So just trying to be transparent about everything. And yeah, I've learned a ton so far.
That is so important. Transparency is important because, I do put a lot of my highlights on my Instagram, but the one that got the most engagement was my museum of failures and everything that I failed at. People like to see the real truth of, what is behind real estate investing. So I love that you're posting that as well. But what inspired you to move into hotels? Are you still gonna focus on flips, or now it's full throttle, let's do hotels?
No, full throttle into hotels. I'm done flipping. And yeah, the last two flips definitely gave me a lot of clarity. Just like you said, flipping is extremely risky, and there's just way more benefits to doing commercial real estate than single family homes. Like everyone kind of learns this. It's like a stepping stone, right? You start with one single family, then you go to duplexes, triplexes, and everyone kind of moves up to commercial, whether it be multifamily or hotels. And so that's kind of the realization I had with myself. I've always loved hospitality. I think it stems from nursing, right? Like being hospitable, taking care of others, and showing other people like the best kind of experience, whether that's through the hospital or with a vacation rental or hotel. And at one point, my mom and I, we had an Airbnb, and it was the best thing ever. Like someone coming over and just providing them the best experience. Someone said that they were, for example, going to be proposing. And so we went out of our way and like got champagne for the house and made the house all cute and all this stuff, and helped them plan everything regarding just like the proposal. And just the amazing review that they left just was awesome. And having repeat guests come back is just the best feeling. And so I don't know, I've just always been drawn to hospitality. Like I love going to nice hotels. Like that's where I splurge. I'm pretty frugal with many things in my life, but when it comes to traveling, like I love staying in a nice hotel with my wife no matter where we travel to. And so I've always dreamed about owning one. So yeah, I think there's so many more benefits to hotels. As I was saying earlier, with flipping in single family homes, the value of the house is based entirely on the neighbor next door, right? And so you can do the best flip in the world. You can say the house is worth $500 or $500,000, and you put $1 million into it, right? The house is still only going to be worth, say, $500,000 if the house next to it is $500,000. So you can over renovate so much. You can say your house is worth this, but if the house next door only sells for X amount, then that's only what it's worth. Whereas in commercial real estate, the value is based on how much income you bring, how much you can like lower expenses. There's so many different ways you can increase the value of a hotel and commercial property as opposed to single family homes.
Yeah, that's very true. And the financing is a lot easier. Did you finance your flips with your W-2 income, or how did you finance them?
So I use hard money loans for the flipping. And so that was just based on the house. So it's asset based.
So how does that work actually? I've never done money
Yeah,
loans.
so hard money loans are just another type of, I don't know why it's called hard money. It's actually the easiest kind of loan to get because it's based on the asset. And so an underwriter will look at a property and they do all their underwriting themselves and say, if this house is a good deal, or say like the after repair value of the house, for instance, is like $1 million, but you get it at 600,000, right? That's a 60% of the ARV, which is awesome. And so underwriters will look at themselves, and if you default on the loan, they pretty much get the house back. But hard money loans can close a lot faster than traditional financing. And so traditional financing, right, takes 30 days to close, or maybe 60 days, depending on if you're getting like an FHA loan, like a first-time home buyer loan, or a VA loan. It can take longer. Whereas hard money loan, when you're doing flipping, you're going against lots of different people, right? Because these are typically like the best deals if they're on the market. Mm-hmm. So hard money loans can close as fast as like 5 days. And then like the ones I used, I think they closed in less than 2 weeks. And so they close really fast, but there's a caveat. You got to typically pay a bunch more to get the loan. Like it can be anywhere from 2 to 4 points. So 2 to 4% of the total loan amount. So say it's $1 million, right? 2 points would be 20,000. So you'd be paying 20,000 to originate the loan. And then the interest rate is much higher. And so for a hard money loan, the hard rates are typically anywhere from 10 to 12%. And so you're paying a much more interest. But the nice thing about hard money loans is they cover renovation costs. And so with the regular financing, they don't cover any kind of renovation costs. And also, traditional banks will not cover houses that need a significant amount of work. And so, like the fire damaged property that I bought, it looked like shit. Like someone had thrown do you know what a Molotov cocktail is? It's like
No,
those,
what is that?
if you have a liquor bottle and then someone puts like a rag in it, and so you just throw the liquor bottle that's like lit on fire right here. And so it's pretty much like a homemade firebomb. And so they threw that into the house, and the house was like smoke damage everywhere. Like a regular bank would not touch that. And so hard money loans are the only ones who will touch that. But the thing that sucks about hard money loans is it's not a long-term loan. And so it's typically only 12 months. Sometimes they can do extensions. So if your renovation takes longer than 12 months, you can pay another percentage. So say like 1 or 2 points to extend the loan like 30 to 60 days. But if you don't finish your flip quickly, you're kind of screwed. So there's pluses and minuses to both. But yeah.
Yeah, because I know in flips you can make a lot of money. Of course, you're valuing the property, you're making it very nice, and a hard money loan would help with that, especially because it's a short-term loan and you need to sell that flip as soon as possible. So I can see the value with hard money with flips. But you did mention, so you and your mom had an Airbnb, so you were already a little bit into the hospitality side. Tell me about that Airbnb.
Yeah, so my mom, she lives on 3 acres and she has like an ADU in the back. And so in this ADU, she had, it's pretty much like a three-car garage on the bottom floor, and then it was like a 1-bedroom studio at the top. And so previously, she bought this property. It was already like that. And I told her that, you know what, you could probably do a killing out here because it's in nature. She really doesn't have any neighbors. The nearest neighbor is probably like, I don't know, 100 yards away. And she has like hills looking over her property. And so I was just saying, you know, we could probably do really well doing an Airbnb over here. And so we remodeled the top, and then we converted the 3-car garage on the bottom into a new studio. And so, yeah, we decided to try and do it as an Airbnb. And it's been honestly doing awesome. But yeah, I think the Airbnb is great, and I've really loved doing it with my mom. So.
Oh, that's awesome. And then you got your mom into real estate investing. So smart.
No, she actually got me into real estate investing. So my mom has, yeah, she's been doing real estate investing forever. We had our house that I grew up in, and then she eventually used that HELOC on that house to buy our next house. And then she kind of just kept snowballing doing that, where she would like have a property, we'd live in it for a while, she used a HELOC to buy another one. And so I think at one point she had, I think, like 3 or 4 rentals, but yeah.
What an inspiration.
Yeah, she's who I owe everything to.
Yeah, definitely. And to learn from someone who's already done it, like it's great to have her as a guide. A lot of people who've gone into the hotel space have had those Airbnb experiences. And that's also what shifted me into the hotel space because I'm seeing a lot of regulations. Where are you located? Do you see regulations in your areas?
Yes, so I live in the Bay Area, about in San Jose, California. So it's about an hour south of San Francisco.
Are there regulations when it comes to Airbnb in that area?
Yes. San Francisco has put a huge restriction on Airbnbs. I think they totally cut all the number of Airbnbs that are allowed. They significantly slashed that, and I don't think they're allowing any new ones. I think they might be trying to get rid of it completely, to be honest. Actually, the Airbnb where me and my mom were doing it, they ended up having to like get rid of it too, and so now we're just doing long-term rental there. So yeah, it's definitely, California is pretty challenging as far as all the regulations.
Yeah, so then that's why, if you buy a hotel, it's a business, so they can't really do anything about that. So that's really what intrigued me about the hotel space. So tell me a little bit about like your journey into becoming a hotelier. Like how did you find out about it, and what are you doing now to be able to buy your first one?
Yeah, so the first person who I saw doing it was Rich Summers, and so I started following him in, I think, 2022. And so he was actually one of the first quote-unquote influencers for real estate who I followed before like joining the flipping mastermind. And he was buying hotels and remodeling them, these rundown ones, and I was just seeing how cool it was. And so for a long time, I told you I was doing flipping, and then I kind of just fell into hotels. Like, all comes back to networking. I met a gal who was in Rich's mastermind, and she ended up like linking me up with him, and so I ended up joining his program, and that's been super awesome. But now I've been in the mastermind for about a year, but the first 6 months I was still doing the flipping, and so it's pretty challenging to try and do both. And so now that I'm done with flipping, I've been pretty much giving hotels my full attention, and so I've been partnering with other people who I met through the mastermind, and we're trying to get experiential, nature-focused hotel. It's like 10 to 30 rooms here in California. And yeah, it's been good. We're pretty close to getting a hotel under contract. right now. So just waiting for the sellers hopefully to get back to us soon. So yeah.
So, what were the key points in the mastermind that you've utilized to be able to find these hotels? And what's your role in the partnerships?
Yeah, the most important thing is definitely networking. I mean, it's all about who you know in this business, right? And so even just joining the mastermind, I've been able to see different brokers, different lenders who I would have never known had I not been in the mastermind. Just all access to all these different vendors, lenders, um, and my partnership. I mean, we're still trying to figure it out, right? And partnerships are very challenging, especially you got to make sure that you find someone who complements your skill sets and vice versa. But I'm really for this partnership, I think, really trying to help with underwriting and acquisitions and also a little bit of marketing. Like, I think social media is my thing, and I want to be able to like really build up the brand of the hotel and the story of it throughout all the renovations, and just like once the hotel is done and stabilized, like I really want to, yeah, just build the story of the hotel from the beginning.
I love it. Especially, I love the nature type of retreat. And I know California is really big on wellness. So if you have like events like yogi events, they would
Yep.
love that. Within nature, that would be really, really cool. I would just go to California just for that, to be honest.
Yeah, we're trying to
But
incorporate wellness into our hotel too.
yeah, you can, especially because it's nature and wellness. They just blend in together so well. You don't have to do a whole spa thing, but you can do little yoga events, little sound meditations. Like I've seen a lot of those types of events in Florida. So you told me that you were going into the hotel investing and that you're looking to the wellness space, and you said you were underwriting. So how did you find these deals?
Yeah, so there's different ways you can go about it, right? I mean, what we're doing too is we're looking on all the different listing platforms. So there's websites called like Crexy and LoopNet. These are very comparable to like Zillow or Redfin, but for commercial real estate. So we're doing that. We're doing a lot of broker outreach, which is pretty much the listing brokers, right? And so if you go and you find these properties that are on Crexy or LoopNet, you can try and build relationships with these brokers, because a lot of times the properties that are listed publicly aren't always the best. And so these are the ones that they've already tried to pass around off market, and maybe people don't want them because they're listed for whatever reason too high or something. And so you could try and build relationships with these brokers and say, you know, this property doesn't work for me, but this is why, and this is why. And so maybe they'll start to see that you're more serious, and they'll start to send you some off market leads. And so that's another way that you can go about finding properties. Another thing we've been trying to do is do more direct to seller outreach. And so we actually have a VA who we're hiring and trying to train right now to try and find more off-market leads for hotels. And so it's kind of like similar to single-family homes, where say you find a hotel, you can go onto specific websites like CoStar, and then you can try and find the hotel owner's information on there. And then you can try and cold call them, you can text them. You can also just email the hotel website. A lot of times, like these hotels that we're targeting are old mom and pop owners, right? And so they don't have a huge front desk or back end office where it'd be really hard to reach the owners. We're really trying to target these like mom and pop sellers, because they're the ones who be wanting to retire and maybe like operating it poorly. So those are the best kind of ones to target.
Love that. Everything that you said is gold. Now, I also have been targeting mom and pop sellers. And the issue that I have had with targeting those sellers is their financials are either
Yes.
non-existent or they're a text message. I literally got a text message of financials yesterday. So, how do you and your partners battle through that? Because at this point, I'm just assuming expenses. Like, I have no idea what their true financials are.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I mean, you can try and reverse engineer it. Honestly, I'm not the best with underwriting. Like, I think underwriting for commercial real estate is so challenging, because I'm sure you've seen like the spreadsheets are so detailed and crazy. And so I've
Yes.
been really trying to utilize AI a lot, and I have actually a VA who I've been using to like, send them deals, and they will help underwrite also. But yeah, I think it's just really challenging, but you got to just do the best you can, and whatever they give you. I mean, sometimes, like you said, they don't really give you very complete stuff, right? And so sometimes they can just base it off of other comps as best as they can. But yeah, that's just the challenge with these mom and pop sellers.
Yeah, I mean, at least you get a little bit better financing terms. Like sometimes they do seller financing if
Yeah.
their price is too high. So that's pretty good. But Tell me about your first deal then. You're about to get it under contract. What is the price? Do you have a lender in place? Like, what is your strategy for funding this?
Yeah, so this is a property that's currently 11 rooms. It's kind of like cabin style. It's not like one building with lots of different rooms. There's several different buildings on the property. It's on 5 acres. It's coastal California, so there's definitely oceanish views. It's listed for a little bit under 2 million, but we're hoping to get it under that. We got for a signed LOI, like definitely less than that. The financing that we're probably going to do for this is either an SBA loan, which is a small business loan, or bridge lending, because this property definitely needs work. So it's very similar to like a hard money loan in the sense that these loans will cover some of the construction costs. And so that's kind of the lending we're going to use, but we still won't know everything until we get under contract, because then the sellers will give us much more of the financials and all that stuff. But so far we've spoken to several different lenders, and I think the SBA or bridge lending will probably be our best bet.
An SBA with what, 10% down is the one that they were
So
telling
this
you?
SBA would probably be 20% down. So you can do higher leverage, like if you say you put more equity in, or you say you cross collateralize the property. Say you can put your house on your as cross collateral for the property, and then they will do higher leverage. But yeah, for this one they said 20%, but I've seen as
Okay.
low as 10%.
Yeah, I have. I've heard of low as 10%. So if you're gonna do 20%, did they offer you a DSCR loan?
No, this one did not.
Okay, okay. Well, that's just another loan option. But damn, under 2 million is really good for coastal California. I'm here in Florida, and the numbers are crazy here in Florida. So I have a 20 unit hotel right in front of the beach in Hollywood Beach for 14 million. It's not worth 14 million. It should be worth 2 million. But
Yes.
the sellers there, because we're in Florida, they swear that the hotels are so overpriced. So I'm just in my struggle has been sending out LOIs and just not getting any response because the prices here are way overpriced. I don't know if it's the same in California. It doesn't sound like it, but
Yeah, I
because
mean, this one's
it's
definitely
good.
a lower one. I think it's because there's less rooms too. It's only 11 rooms. It's not 20. Yeah, I think everyone has very unrealistic expectations of what their properties are worth, whether that be regular residential or commercial real estate. But I think the most important thing is just don't give in and don't try and make the numbers work. Like, do your underwriting, do your due diligence, and if whatever works for you, keep it at that, right? Don't give in and be like, I just want to get a deal done and just do one, and just if that means giving away some of your numbers, because then you can be in a really bad place, especially if you're raising money from investors, right? The last thing you want to do is get into a deal where you can't pay your investors back, because all it takes is one deal to put your name to shame. And so I think it's all a numbers game. Just keep putting out LOIs at whatever you think is the best number for yourself, and whatever like it works for you. And yeah, I think it just need to do follow up. I think sellers just need reality checks, right? So if their property's brand new, of course you're gonna be like, oh, my property's worth 14 million. But as long as it sits there for say like a year, then they're gonna come down on their price. And so I think you just need patience. Also, I think that's just the most important thing.
Are you going to be raising capital for this deal? Are you going to do syndication?
Yeah, we're gonna be raising money.
Okay, you're going to be raising money. What are the strategies that you guys have for raising money?
Definitely social media. Social media is the best thing. Your social media, Instagram is your new resume, right? And so for me, I've been building my personal brand now for 2 years since house flipping. I have my podcast, and so I think there's a level of trust and credibility already there. And another thing that I'm doing is a newsletter. And so I have a newsletter that I'm starting I'm probably going to release my first one today or tomorrow. But that'll be like a good way to build trust at scale with more people, because not everyone is on Instagram, right? And so may have some older people who only check email. So newsletter can be another way to reach other people other than just social media. And so that's just one strategy that I'm going to be doing, is a newsletter that's like everything I'm doing, everything that's happening with hotel, like all the different stages we're in, and just sharing all the lessons that I'm learning. So just like trying to give as much as I can before ever asking is something I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. What about LinkedIn? I've been using LinkedIn a lot to be able to connect with people. Obviously, the posts have to be different because the LinkedIn audience is a lot different than Instagram audience. But are you also utilizing LinkedIn?
Yeah, I use LinkedIn too. I just kind of just share everything that I'm posting on Instagram, I posted on LinkedIn. I mean, just as you said, you have to change up the way you present yourself on there because it's definitely a little bit more quote unquote professional. But yeah, I think if you're posting on Instagram, you might as well just post it to LinkedIn and Facebook and everything, right? Like there's literally just no extra effort to do it, and your reach can be much more.
At least you're getting engagement, and that's what matters. Because in the beginning, I would do the same. I would post the same thing on TikTok, Instagram, and then LinkedIn. But when I would post, for example, on Instagram, like a breakdown of a hotel, no one paid attention. On
Yeah.
LinkedIn, though, everyone was like, wow, yes, I can see the value. Those are great numbers. So I was like, okay, maybe I should switch up the strategy. Again, I'm still testing it out because social
Yeah.
media changes every day.
Yep.
The algorithm, like, I don't even think hashtags aren't a thing anymore, right?
No, not
We're
really.
not using hashtags anymore. So I like space it all the way down and I still post hashtags just in case.
Yep. Yep. I do that on LinkedIn too.
Tell me a little bit about why you started the podcast. It's the Lowdown, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So I started the podcast just as a way to build trust at scale. It's just another way of building your personal brand, right? And it's like the ultimate form of leverage, social media and the podcast, right? Like, me and you can be having this conversation about hotels or podcasting, right? So instead of me having the same conversation with 100 people, we just couldn't record this one episode and it could potentially reach thousands of people, right? And that's the ultimate use of leverage. And so another reason why I started the podcast is it's just another way to build relationship capital. And so I've been able to have conversations and build relationships with people who I know for a fact I would have never been able to do had I not had the podcast, right? And so I think just by having a podcast and knowing that, it could be a win-win situation because you're able to build a relationship, you're able to see and reach new followers from your guests' side. They can also do the same for them. And so say you bring on someone who's a lender. Now on my podcast, they have a lot more exposure to them as a lender. And so it's just like a win-win situation for both of us. And yeah, I think there's just a million reasons to do podcasting and not enough to like not do it.
Yeah, and you have really great conversations with high level investors and business owners. So tell me a little bit about what those conversations have taught you thus far.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things I've learned, honestly, from podcasting. I think the biggest thing is just like how I actually communicate myself. I mean, when you're not recording yourself all the time, like I've just picked up on little things that I do myself, saying different words that I find are very annoying. And so just increasing my communication skills, I think, is the number one thing. And another thing I've learned is just, everyone, if we're all built from the same like blood, right? We're like the only thing that separates another person from another is just the willingness to keep going and being consistent and just overcoming challenges. I think that's just the one thing I've seen between all different people who I've had who have been successful is like the faster you can get kicked in the nuts from life and just like go through these failures and just learn from it, is like the faster you're going to keep getting better and growing. And so yeah, I just keep going. That's the ultimate thing. Just stay consistent. That's who wins.
That's so true. I love that too. The faster you can get kicked in the nuts or the ovaries, the better you're gonna be. It's so true. And I have noticed my conversations, like when I listen back, I'm like, I say like too much.
Yes,
And I
same.
never thought I had an accent until I listened to myself. I'm like, wow, I definitely have an accent.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, honestly, and now when I'm talking to other people, my friends and my family, my really close ones, I'm like, I'm like, you need to try and change. You're
Yeah.
saying this thing a lot, and I think everyone's just a lot more mindful of the way they talk. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, well, that is awesome. So tell me a little bit about what your long-term goal is. Do you plan to stay in nursing and then also become a hotelier, or do you want to become a full-time hotelier? What is your goal?
My goal is definitely to go full time into being a hotelier and full time into real estate. I think nursing is amazing. I've built so many great friendships through it, but I ultimately want to build a business right where it runs on its own. And you don't have to trade your time for money, like I was saying in the beginning, like I do with nursing. Like the ultimate dream I think that everyone chases is just time freedom, like the ability to do whatever you want with whoever you want at any given time. And right now, I can't do that in the hospital. There's other things you can do to just build another amazing business. It doesn't even have to be hotels. It can be passive income from single family homes or multifamily, right? It's just whatever you want to do. But for me, definitely hotels is what I want to do long term, and continue to build up with the podcast, do social media. I love connecting with other people like yourself. That's just like my favorite thing to do. Is just I'm a huge people person. So yeah, and I just want to continue to just give back and help other people. I think everyone always talks about this, like the money is great and all that, but to me, what gets me fired up is helping other people, and I think that ultimately comes back to the nursing in me. But like, whenever I have someone from work say, "Oh, I listen to your podcast, and now I want to get into private money lending," or even just helping other people at work learn about high yield savings account. It's a very simple thing, right? But most people do not have that, and many of them were skeptical about getting one, and then now they're like, "Oh my God, I just got blah 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 back." I'm like, that's just the best feeling, and so I just want to keep helping other people as much as I can. So
I love that 100%. And I didn't know about high yield savings accounts, and now I'm like, get a high yield savings account. And
For
they're
sure.
like, what? And they get scared. And I'm like, no, bro, look, you get a good amount of returns back. Like, and you can take out money whenever you want. But yeah, it's the simple things that you can teach others so they can get ahead too, because there's so much money in the world. We can all share. We
Yeah.
can all build our dreams together. The more that we support each other, the better everyone's going to do. So I love that. That definitely is the nurse in you. But it's so good, I think, that you're staying in nursing, because those are high level conversations that you can have for capital raising.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I want to do too. Is like, I want to be the nurse who's helping all the doctors and nurses and anyone else who's in the hospital earn more through real estate, through passive income, other than just their jobs, right? And a lot of people don't even know that there's these options exist for other ways of investing, right? And so I want to help try and be that medium. And so maybe, maybe I don't quit nursing completely. I can be, it's called per diem, where I only work like once a month or twice a month. That could be a great option too, where I can stay tapped into the network. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's honestly, the beauty of it is that you can choose, right? Is your wife like, happy about like you getting a hotel, or is she a little bit like, can we afford a hotel?
Yeah, for sure. She was definitely a little skeptical at first. But I think just knowing that we're going to be going in with other partners, I think makes it a little bit more digestible. You're not taking on all the risk yourself. I think that's been really helpful. But yeah, I think she's seen me go through the stresses of flipping so far, and there's been a lot of stresses with that. And I think just like my calm demeanor and just my ability to overcome stressful situations, I think she has a lot of faith in me. And so I give her, everything in the world too, because she easily said I can quit nursing tomorrow if I want to do this full time. And so she is the most supportive person. So yes, I'm very grateful. So
She is awesome. She sounds awesome.
she's amazing. I'm very blessed for the support system that I have between my
Of
family and my
course.
wife.
And again, that's all you need, honestly. And the fact that she motivates you to want to do better for you guys and your family, like, that's how you know it's time to get married. The way that I found out that I wanted to marry my husband was when my property was completely destroyed and I was out of the country with him, and I was crying and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Insurance isn't covering anything. He's like, we will figure it out. I was like,
Yes.
can't wait to marry you. That's how you
unknown.
choose a good partner.
Yeah, for sure. The unknown you can't predict, right? But I just know that we'll figure it out. I think that's just the best mindset to have. It's easy to get caught up in like the what ifs and worry about the future and anxiety of it, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I know that we'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. So, what would you tell healthcare professionals considering real estate?
Healthcare professionals considering real estate, I say just do it because, like I was saying in the beginning, to me, to me, the worst thing is to be in the same spot as I was the last 5
Yeah.
years. And I don't know. I think nursing's great and healthcare is great. It's definitely needed, right? Like we have to take care of people. But for me, I don't want to keep trading my time for money. So if real estate can give you that way out of trading your time for money, then do it. Yes, there's going to be many failures, or many mistakes, but I promise you it's worth it.
I love it. And what mindset shift helped you most grow into what you've grown today?
I think just having the abundance mindset, just knowing that there's enough money to go around, there's enough for everyone, and just knowing that everything will be fine. I don't know. It's really hard to phrase, but just having gone through what I've gone through so far and just Still have not made any money in real estate, really. Yeah, I don't know. You just figure it out, and you just
Lessons is the best teacher. You've had a lot of lessons.
yes, a lot of lessons. And I think it's really important to just connect with other people who are in real estate because for me in the beginning, especially, real estate is a very lonely road. Especially in the beginning, right? I was doing this all myself. None of my friends from college or high school, none of my family was doing this, and so I really didn't have the ability to connect with other people who are doing this. And so it's always nice to connect with other people who are maybe just one or two steps ahead of you, just to know that we're all going through the hard stuff together. And so it's just nice to be able to bounce ideas off another mentor or friend who's in real estate, and just feed off each other's energy. So
I agree with that. When I started this, the same thing. I was like in my early 20s, and my friends, I couldn't have these type of conversations with my friends because they didn't really understand what I was doing. So I would love to go to networking events and socialize. I did want to really ask you, how did you stay patient and grounded? Because you mentioned that you were very calm in these situations.
honestly, this I think a lot of it goes back to I've been sober now for this will be 2.5 years. I think for me,
Congrats.
being so sober has been like the biggest life hack, honestly. And like I used to just drink all the time. I had an episode about talking about this, but yeah, I had a very unhealthy relationship with alcohol and other drugs, to be honest. And I think now that I don't do any of that stuff, I think it really has helped with anxiety and just overall mindset in general. And so I think that just thinking about anything has probably been the biggest hack for me. So
I love that. That's amazing. Wow, and congratulations, 2 years. You and your wife have to do something to celebrate. Maybe another trip. You definitely should. That's a big accomplishment.
I used to get really bad anxiety where I'd have to take a medication or something, right? Or I'd get like really bad stressful
Oh
situations.
no.
I'd get shaky and all that stuff. So yeah, my overall anxiety and just all the negative emotions that come along with drinking have like subsided substantially. So I think that's just been the biggest life hack for me. So highly recommend it. Even if you don't quit altogether, just go through seasons of life where, if you are trying to pursue a hotel, maybe go sober during that time. And after the hotel is done, then you can start celebrating with drinks again. But I think taking breaks is good.
I actually love that. I love that goal. So, last few questions. Do you have a morning routine that you like to follow?
I'm a huge gym goer, and so I usually wake at 3:30 in the morning, especially on days that I'm working in the hospital. And so I wake up at 3:30, leave my house for like 4:15, get to gym 4:30. Yeah, I think waking up early is the best thing to do. There's something special about being up in the morning, knowing that everyone else is still asleep. Like that to me is that's just the biggest flex in the world. It's just like knowing that you're doing something when everyone else is still sleeping. And so waking up early. Um, and then having a smoothie. That's just like my morning routine, honestly, and trying to listen to podcasts on the way to work instead of just listening to music. Just always trying to do something to learn.
I love that advice. Any books that you recommend?
Uh, Probably one of my favorite books to read, especially when I was first getting into everything, was Set for Life by Scott Trench. It's a bigger pockets book. It tells you just all the different things to be better about with just wealth building in general, just different habits you can do. So that was a really big one. Ed Milet, The Power of One More. That was a really powerful one. Just the premise is you're one relationship or one anything away from changing your life, right? So it could be you're one relationship away, you're one action away, you're one handshake away from anything from changing your life. So continue to just do one more of what that is. So that was a really powerful book. And what else? I mean, everyone always talks about Rich Dad Poor Dad. I gotta give that one a shout out, but that's probably like the top three.
Okay, and last question. Do you have any other advice for anyone in their hustle to holdings journey?
You know what? Just keep going. That's the keep what I keep saying is just the faster you can get kicked in the nuts or the faster you get kicked in the ovaries, the better. You don't learn from your wins, you learn from your mistakes. And so the faster you can put yourself in situations where you could be learning something, it's the better. And just continue to surround yourself with other like-minded people. That's the best thing you can do. So it's all about who you know in this business.
Love that. You need to trademark that quote right right away. And where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, you can find me on social media on Instagram, Lorenzo period Mercado underscore. I also have a podcast called The Lowdown, all across all different streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, but Instagram is probably the best place.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, Lorenzo. I know that your story is going to bring a lot of value to a lot of listeners, especially in healthcare. I appreciate you for being here.
Of course, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate being here. So, yeah.